podcast time. It's podcast time. It's podcast time. We're talking podcasts. We're talking changing the teeth. We're talking. Yes, ma'am. Oh, yeah. Stefan. when is your time?
Swell, yeah!
Everybody knows, so everyone's met each other. I am Suttschenko, and we are ready to catch Farmer Andy. Where you at, man? Farmer Andy! Wake the farm up! Hey. How you guys doing? Feeling good? Yeah. Right. So, tonight we have special guest, Suttschenko. Come on out.
Hey, you out there, I love you. Hey! Oh, hey!
Alright, so wake the farm up. Welcome to another live recording of the Wake the Farm Up Maintaining Ground podcast. Just that. In today's show, we're going to be exploring propagation. Yeah, get cozy. Come on. We're going to be here. This is a fun show here. Get cozy and relax and enjoy. We're going to have some serious times here, some fun, some serious fun. So with propagation as our prompt of our conversation tonight, we all know this show can go anywhere though, you know. We're going to be talking about all kinds of things in here. So now on the show tonight, we have some fun guests that are going to come up and maybe some surprise guests. We'll see how the night goes here. We got Cleocatra, who's been on the podcast before in season 1, and it'll be fun to catch up and hear what she's been up to, and you know, see what's going down with that. And we got Weez coming up. He was on episode 2 of season 1, so it's really exciting that he's going to be here on episode 2 of season 2.
I like that guy.
Yeah, we're going to be propagating conversations with each and every one. So, thanks again, Aaron.
Yes, thanks for having me. Testing, there we go.
Yeah, once again.
Propagation is the subject at hand here.
Once again, I want to give it a little round for Aaron coming and being on the air here with us.
I'm a nobody.
Yeah, he's a nobody, and you know, when you're out in the forest and a branch falls and it makes a sound, nobody's there listening to it. A lot of times I'll be there with them. So, this show is also brought to you tonight by the trifoliate orange, the Panceris trifoliata. It's a cold hardy citrus fruit that grows here. And all of you are invited. If you haven't yet, there's a big basket full of them over there. You can try them tonight. I like to just pull them out they're kind of like a big candy ball. You just kind of pop them with one of your teeth and just squeeze the juice out into your mouth, or you can do it into your water bottle or something like that, and it makes a really nice drink.
Yeah.
So really here, I'm gonna pop one right now. It's like
cheers.
Sour Patch. A lot of seeds in them things.
Yeah, they're so good.
Testing.
Yeah. So one of the fascinating things about the trifoliate orange is that it has anti-allergy properties that help relieve inflammations from allergies. So for me, that's a great thing because I often get allergies from different seasons, and right now I don't because I've been popping little orange balls all the time, little trifoliate oranges. So they're actually native to Asia, like the China, Korea area, and they're used in like ancient medicinal traditions in such a way. They also have antiviral and antibacterial properties as well.
Yeah, it woke me up. It was nice. It was a nice wake up. And it tasted great.
Yeah, and along the lines of propagation, there's seeds that are in there. There's hundreds of seeds, it seems like, in each one. And each one of those seeds has the potential to turn into a tree and grow a fruit that's similar to its parental plant. If that makes sense. Do you guys know about like propagation of different plants and whatnot? Like there's grafting. It's, a lot of you probably know about grafting, but it's amazing. A lot of people really don't know what that means. That's where you can, like I like Aaron, so I want more Aaron, so I'm gonna take a cutting off of his hand and I'm gonna root it and grow it into another whole other Aaron, but I'm gonna need like a substrate, so I need some other feet. Like I need this Aaron to be able to go hike up mountains and shit like every day, like hauling big wheelbarrow or some shit. So I'm gonna give him some like serious like Neanderthal legs and stuff and graft Aaron on top of that. And next thing you know, like there you go, you got an Aaron that can do that. That's grafting, where there would be rooting, which would be a type of cloning where I would just be cutting off his arm and dipping it in some kind of rooting gel and it would grow a root and it would be all just air and there would be no necessary like root stock underneath of that. Does that make sense? I know I'm talking about plants, but I'm also talking about cutting up our friend Suttschenko right here. That's what we actually welcomed him to the show for.
Graft me out.
Yeah, we're gonna graft you out. But then there's also seeds. Seeds are my favorite. Bing, 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 bing. Because with seeds you can have a tree or a plant that grows a fruit that you can collect the seeds from and plant them. And I'm not talking about hybrids. You'll find that if you collect hybrid seeds, like they might be a good fruit one year, but the next year maybe not so good. It'll come out and just be totally something different. So it's, every plant has its own seed story and how it can be saved or utilized or planted right away and create fruit or a flower or a plant structure very similar to its parents without having to do any kind of grafting or cutting or cloning or rooting or anything of that nature. Just everything of absolute true nature, which is just the seeds moving on and becoming their own. Propagation.
Beautiful. Well said. Yeah.
So what do you think about that, Aaron?
I think it's all right on. It sounds good. It's not my realm. I mean,
Well, for tonight's show too, I want us all to give a hand for the sound necromancer over here, Stefan. Keeping some music and energy going through every conversation as we go through the night. Microphone up, sway. Alright, so here's the improvising and having fun with tonight's show. So we can, go and have somebody come up now, perhaps. You ready for somebody to come up? You got more air on store. You got some. What's going on over here? Are you dancing with the microphone?
Yeah, we're trying to get set up.
I mean, if you want, it's pretty easy just to hold on to them too.
Yeah. I don't know.
Pop it out of there.
Yeah, so I don't know. You're the leader of the show here. I'm just here as like the partner in crime. Like if you need anything.
Okay.
I don't know where to go next.
Well, thanks for being here. Well, one thing I know about Aaron, he's got a lot to share. He and I have some history. You got the history note there. Ding.
Yes.
And I remember the year I got my wisdom teeth pulled out. I was maybe like 18. I was going to a lot of fish shows. You can see he's got a nice, like, beautiful hand tie-dyed fish hoodie on right now. But I'm 18 years old in the 90s, and I'm going in to get my wisdom teeth pulled out, and I'm coming out and I'm like gassed on nitrous oxide or whatever they give you there, when they want to pull your teeth out.
Yeah.
And I see this guy coming down the hallway at the dentist office, and I totally got confused and thought I was at a fish show. So I was asking him if he got a ticket into the show too, and I was so excited to see him there.
I don't remember that, but I must have been gassed up as well. Yeah. I think I was there for the same thing.
He was actually at a fish show too.
Yeah, same thing, yeah. Right.
Yeah, that was good times for sure.
I think that might have been like when I first met you.
Okay, yeah. Winton Woods.
Yeah.
Yep.
Propagation. Yeah. Propagation.
Propageneration.
That's the word, right? That's the word.
That's the word, right? So, does anybody have 2 minutes that they're ready to come up to this beautiful microphone right here? You can pop it off the stand and you can stand here, move about a little bit. There's a chair here if you want to sit down and be a little cozy.
To share their point of view of propagation or how they propagate in life.
Whatever they want for 2 minutes, and you and I not interrupted at all for 2 minutes, but after 2 minutes we can interrupt as much as we want, okay?
Are you gonna put a timer on?
Yeah, we got same
Are you?
dials and stuff.
Wait.
Yeah. I do that every time.
What if I accidentally go too long? What happens?
Then you get the horn or the didgeridoo, depending on how we want to do it.
Jeez, man.
Go over 2 minutes.
It sounds.
Over 2 minutes gets the horn. Alright.
Don't play games, dude. This is scary. You made me. I'm kind of afraid.
Is anybody coming up to the mic to share?
The pink mic. Hey!
This is your mic, Weez. Welcome, Weez.
How's it going, everybody?
Hey!
Andy, Aaron,
What's up, bro?
Stefan.
Yeah, we go.
All three people I've known in the past, which is cool. I don't know what you want me to talk about. You told me the subject matter was propagation. And you asked me to speak about, I think, logistics.
Well, okay.
I don't know. I wasn't prepared to really say much.
You're join the club. You're good.
I think you guys have all experienced the last 2 years of COVID, right? Everyone realized the world slowed down. Things became a lot more scarce, a lot harder to come by. That's logistics, man. If you recall, like the days of Amazon, which are still here, but you would order something the very next day, it's at your door. About 2.5 years ago, that next day delivery kind of went by the wayside. There was no more next day delivery. And that was all around. And for the last 2 years, supply chains have been extremely stretched. It's taken longer to get from A to B. That's impacted everyone from things they want to buy to things they need to buy. Cost of shipping went up by exponentially by tenfold. So it was costing a lot more to get freight from point A to point B, which impacts the consumer. When you go to buy something, it used to cost $1, now it's $1.70. Yeah, man. Yeah, you see that inflation. So yeah, that's it in a nutshell. My job is to help people get stuff from A to B. So it was rough. Everybody's upset about the stuff they were looking to buy and trying to figure out where it was. And it was never where it was supposed to be at the time it was supposed to be there. So it was a real challenge, People that buy goods overseas and sell them here in the U.S., we're having trouble keeping the doors open. I can sense questions coming, so that's awesome. But yeah, it's just supply chains have been really stretched for the last 2 years, and it impacts everybody from major corporations to the consumer. Yeah. Logistics indeed. Propagation.
Can I ask a question? Oh, look at that! You nailed it!
Hold on!
1 minute 59 seconds, dude!
My rehearsal's paid off.
Hold on! Get out of here, this guy! How do you
He's
do
so
that?
logistical. He had it planned.
Like a dime.
He had every bit of that planned. That's like it was like he had the Suez Canal all blocked up, and he got here and it just opened.
Logjam.
So when you had to start trying to communicate about fixing some of these things, what were some things that you thought or saw that might make things better, like moving forward and the logistics of the communities, or like from a more grassroots perspective, what is some ways like community could start to incorporate ideas behind things within logistics that could help people share better, have like the economy of community, the way things like were at different points. Is that even possible? Or
Yeah, I was going to go a different direction when you first asked the question. That's absolutely something everybody can apply to their own life. The less dependent you are on things that come from overseas, the less you can be impacted when supply chain shuts down. So source things locally, find ways to get them from local vendors, buy things secondhand, trade things. I mean, there's no reason to import the volumes that we do every day. And then, people are doing without products they think they need. A lot of stuff you don't need. So to answer your question, I would just make your circle smaller.
Well, what do you think about, producing more producers? Like, how can we get more producers producing things and have the logistics for small producers, various sizes, to be able to contribute to larger systems of food sharing?
Food sharing. Well, I mean, if you can, like I said, if you can cut out the need to import it from overseas, whether it's a plane or a boat or a truck, you're going to cut out costs. So I think from a standpoint of being able to do things locally and compete with overseas, manufacturers, especially what we've seen in the last 2 years is costs have gone up quite a bit, and it made that competitive advantage from sourcing overseas to sourcing locally and narrow that gap. So I don't know if I answered your question or not.
Yeah, well, I don't know. It's just like everything, I just don't know what I know or like what I'll ever know. There's, things like that I've learned when I was 7 that you might not have learned until you were 27, or there's things that you learned when you were 11 that I might not ever learn. There's like things that you learned when you were 5 that I won't ever know while I'm alive.
That's true. Yeah, there's things that I know that you'll never know till you're dead.
Right. So on the logistics of, so you're speaking in really big, large, broad terms of like global economies and like global trade, and how simplifying back to more local things and adaptations of what's available in your local area could be like more, what would you call it? More accessible,
easy to come by.
Okay, but in the meantime, there's certain things that perhaps could be produced locally that could be appreciated somewhere else as well. So is there some way of still creating some form of trading and bartering and nurturing different areas for what they can produce abundantly?
Sure. I mean, people, communities, individuals can take advantage of the resources they have available to them and use it to trade with local communities. It just becomes a smaller model of the global economy where you're producing something, you're exceeding your needs, so you take the excess and you sell it, whether it's to a neighbor or the next town or the next city. Just like I said, keep your circle smaller. Where'd you get that hat?
From a thrift store.
Excellent. Where was it made?
It was made in a wizard school somewhere, I think.
Probably in China.
No, I don't think it was actually. Perhaps everything else is.
Most everything else is.
Yeah, my favorite toys.
We were talking about toys earlier. We were talking about He-Man,
Okay.
Star Wars figures.
Yeah, where were those from?
We were discussing a Kenner,
Have
which
you
was
ever-
here in Cincinnati.
Have you ever worked with the people who are in charge of the logistics for the trade and transportation of He-Man action figures?
That was before my time.
So they haven't had a resurgence. Collector's items, perhaps. Skeletor. I mean, Skeletor is pretty cool.
I'm not sure what He-Man's up to right now these days. Maybe he's still around. I would figure he's near retirement age.
Maybe it has something to do with like mastering the universe.
Tall order, yeah. He's probably.
What do you think about like the future? Like, is there going to be space stations and ways where you have to deal with logistics of getting Earth food up to people in space stations? Do you think they're going to logistically be able to grow and produce all of their own foods and
That was a Matt Damon
minerals
movie.
and nutrients?
right? Or it was a book, The Martian?
I don't know. There's a lot of them where they're all by themselves. I'm thinking like whole entire like cities floating around in orbit and stuff.
Yeah, I think that's possible.
Yeah.
They're talking about going back to the moon. What are they going to put up there? A Walmart.
Are they? Are you working on the logistics for that?
I'm actually drawing the blueprint.
Wow.
Yeah, it's going to be a big box.
It's like a blue moon print.
Do you think there's a way to talk about logistics that's actually?
Got a joke.
Do you think that there's a way to talk about logistics that's actually that would actually be fun?
Yeah, come on.
That's a great
I
question.
don't think it's possible.
Yeah.
I don't think it is either, man.
But I love you and I love what you did here today.
Yeah, keep propagating those thoughts. Thank you, Weez.
You're welcome.
All right. That was awesome. That was perhaps a little bit logistical for me. I still want this guy to work on the logistics of an industry that's like creating acorn flour or something, you know, one of these industries of food that there's just so much of out there, but it's just like we don't have the logistics of putting it all together, but you know, sometimes we gotta get those logistical things together.
Yep. Logistics, ladies and gentlemen.
What are you?
Logistics.
How could you put logistics in a way that's really?
I would just be like, if you want to learn about logistics, go to YouTube and check it out.
Yeah, because on YouTube, like, you can logistically find information about the
Yeah.
logics of
You
it.
could read about it on there.
There's probably like
But if I was
12
listening to a
bullet
podcast,
point steps to being logical.
but there might be a podcast that's like the logistic. It's literally a podcast about learning about how logistics.
Yeah, like every episode is just like even more logistical than the one before.
There you go.
It's like all just lined up, ducks in a row, as the crow flies.
Logistics.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, this is great.
You love that thing. And you're like break dancing with the mic stand the whole time. If
But yeah.
you audio listeners could see Aaron Suttschenko here and how he break dances with the microphone.
Well, I was trying to figure out the logistics of it earlier, but what happened was we had a right hand. No, I'm busy.
It's obtuse.
We have a hand for that. So go ahead.
Yeah, you have a hand you want to graft? Is that what you're saying? Is that you were gonna say something about that tonight about Jerry Garcia actually having his finger removed so they could try to clone him years ago or something? Is that some kind of conspiracy theory that?
I think you heard
I
that.
guess that's a propagation
somewhere.
thing.
That's a
propagation
yeah,
thing.
that's totally like.
Thanks for staying on topic.
Yeah,
Appreciate
I mean logistically, I mean that's why we started this whole thing out so we can keep things on a nice boat roll.
Is there anyone else that's sharing on this microphone here?
Yeah, who's ready to come up onto the stage here and have some 2 minutes mic time?
I need some mic time.
Come on.
One out of the
Come
5
on.
people.
Don't everybody go running up here all
Okay.
at once. We're not that scary, are we? We sit back down, not again.
No sharing. Andy?
Alright. You ready? Cleocatra is on the mic. Yeah!
Alright.
So cool.
Have a sharer.
Cleopatra. So,
Wait.
propagation.
I want to be fly.
What exactly do you want to explore about propagation? Because I got a lot I can come up with.
You got 2 minutes. You got 2 minutes started right now. Sound good?
We
We'll
good?
explore as much
There's no such thing as time.
time. You got 2 minutes.
Cleopatra.
So, any prompt for me or just?
Propagation.
It reminds me of when I worked at Warder Nursery for the city of Cincinnati, and we propagated So literal propagation is like attracts like, and there's like the law behind it, like natural laws. If it doesn't work, your shit dies. So it's a lot easier to try and do that with living things that want to be done to, and grafting I think is really cool because I've tried it and failed wonderfully, because those things really respond to a particular environment. So in propagating you have to learn how to relate if you're the propagation master. So being relational, if you want to be playing God in the propagation greenhouse, is really important. And I learned that last week. I kept hitting my head against the wall because I wasn't being relational with the people I work with. So I'm essentially not propagating according to their laws. I'm not looking at who they are and where they're at. And you were talking about how do we make like this acorn flower? How do we get that into people that are on Amazon? Well, if it's like attracts like, you have to look at what Amazon is, its tentacles are out there, and what it wants, and match up to that. So if it's saying we want you to be a reliable vendor that produces so much, and then we can connect you with these things, you need to code your stuff with words that the algorithm can pick up, then you can take your acorn powder and say, I can figure out how to match that and propagate with Amazon. So just seeing who they are and where they are and how you can match up to that, that's what occurred to me when I was so frustrated. Why isn't anything getting done? Well, I'm expecting the wrong things from the wrong people. I need to take those expectations to the right people so we can propagate something bigger than what we are as individuals together.
Talk to me. Tell us more. So you were kind of giving us a perspective that says, hey, like from an entrepreneurial perspective, and then kind of sharing like, okay, what is this whole thing with acorn flower? I'm curious. Like, is this a specific thing? I've never heard of acorn flower. So
It's a type of flower, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, partially the whole cool idea with acorn flowers, you can be growing oak forests and collecting a high carbohydrate flour that you can make breads and other things of that nature, of course, pancakes and the muffins, all the good things, right? When it's made with acorn flour, it's not like a monocrop field of wheat or oats or barley or any of that kind of thing. It's an oak forest. So underneath the canopy, you could be growing like 65 other crops on the same piece of land, growing a forest with deep roots. So it's a really good idea. Plus the trees are pretty self-maintained. That's one perspective of why acorn flower is really cool. It needs logistics.
What about acorn bread?
Sounds good. You gotta try it.
Is
I've
that
never
good?
had it, but I would like to if that's a possibility. I would guess that it could be.
Yeah, we were just actually roasting earlier tonight out on the fire on the property here a bunch of bur oaks. And bur oaks are probably one of the closest to having the tannins leached out of them, which is a bitter flavor. When you just pick up an acorn off the ground and eat it, it's going to be really bitter. But if you leach it with water and get the tannins out, then you can dry that and process it into a flour. And the acorns, you know, the bur oaks I was talking about, we were just roasting them straight on the fire and able to just eat them. They kind of tasted like hot mashed potato candy. You guys know me. I have strange descriptions. You know, like this lemon water. Yeah, I'm gonna put that. Like this lemon water over here reminds me of flat Mountain Dew. I don't know if you guys have tried that or had some kind of like similar thought of that, or maybe somebody said Sprite earlier to me today. So.
It's flat Mountain Dew.
Fun descriptions of things, you know.
That are found really in the real ones.
What's that?
It's not working.
Oh,
Yeah,
you are.
yeah.
Yeah, you are.
It's
Aaron.
found in nature.
Aaron. So one of the things I remember you talking about last time we talked that you were really into roller skating as one of your meditations, and forms of relaxation. How's that been going for you?
It was going okay, but then I sprained my foot when I was walking my dog. So I took a break, but I'm ready to get back into it. And it's overwhelming because I always want to do the coolest moves available. And my body doesn't know how to do them yet. So I try to do 15 minutes every day and then catch up when I miss those times. What I noticed is that I'm so trained to work that I will put off fun things at the cost of everything else. So I did my 90-day challenge is to force me to do a little every day, and then I'll be excited when I'm done and I'll be a lot better.
Well, the way you talk about it almost sounds like the work is pretty fun too, though, in its own way, huh?
It can be, unless I make myself stressed out, which the only reason I can be stressed out is if I made myself, and I know that.
Yeah, it's always quite the performance when I find myself stressing out.
So the roller skates are very meditative. I can do it in the hallway right outside of my door where I live.
Cool.
I want to be able to do tricks with my dog. I just don't want to put her in an unsafe situation, so I want to get really good before I try anything.
Like having your dog pull you along on a cord? Like a leash?
I don't know. I just think we would make a good team. And she's really young, so I don't know where she's going to go in her life.
Do you think she could learn how to roller skate as well? Are there dog roller skates? Do you know about that?
I'm going to say there probably is, because I've seen on Instagram dogs doing a lot of things I would never have imagined.
I wish I had a video right now of that.
And I get FOMO about what other dogs are doing. And I get FOMO about what I'm doing. I want to be better at roller skates, and I also want my dog to be good at cool stuff too.
Yeah, I got you. Have special tricks and moves they can do, and special calls.
Yeah. Or just something that we can bond over. I mean, she's my daughter, and I can't force her to like certain hobbies, but hopefully we can find one where we click.
Yeah. I used to have a dog named Chief when I was 16, and he responded to the word squirrels. He would perk his head up if I said the word squirrel. He'd be looking all around, and if he'd see one, he'd be taking off after it. But I found out it was quite fun, as a 16-year-old, to be hanging out with a bunch of other 16-year-olds somewhere, and I could say, girls! And he would be like, whoa, where? Where are they at?
So I'd be happy with a trick like that with my dog.
Yeah. Dogs are great. I love dogs. How are the cats getting along with the dogs? I know you got cats too. Cleocatra.
I think they're pretending like they're at odds with each other, and when I'm gone, they're not, because they just play fight a little bit, but they'll work it out.
Awesome. Now, I know another thing about Cleocatra is she is a landscape designer and has done a lot of amazing work and has incorporated permaculture design principles into a lot of her designs, and definitely has an amazing eye for the beauty aspect of things. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Thank you, Andy. So, I get obsessed with having to do cooler, better projects. That as soon as I get a super cool one, I'm like, we need cooler projects. So I'm trying to make myself enjoy everything that's happening, because everything that's happening is so different, and it's about the people that they bring us a project. I want their home to look like them, and I had to grow up a lot, having a business of my own and doing that with people, but I think the reward now is it's their style every time. I just try and translate it for them. So I just try to make it unique. It's not a cookie cutter thing, and that's beautiful to me because I don't have to scratch my head and come up with new ideas. I just let them talk, and I'm like, oh, I think they would like this, and show them what I thought they told me, but just like a painter would paint your portrait, how they think you might like it. I try and do their spaces that way.
Nice.
and I don't always know like where they're gonna go, and sometimes they look at it and they're like, no, this, that, and so the end result is always something I never thought, and that's, I think, the funnest part.
I like that. I like how you compared it to like a color palette that a painter's using. I often talk about permaculture design. People think like square foot gardening or sheet mulching or digging a swale is permaculture, but it's all just different colors on a permaculture designer's palette, which they can dab into and use that as part of their painting. You know, working with the land and looking at the land and matching it with what the people are wanting and matching the land, what the land is wanting as well.
Yeah, I definitely eventually want to do like the whole house, inside and out. It's just that I don't have the right people in place to help me with that yet.
With the indoor part, or
every like house from the
combining.
ground up, because I always thought like, why is the architect like this shining star of like all the experts involved? Like, why isn't it the person that touches where the building touches the land that has the first thing to say? Because the land like connects the house to the environment that the people have to live in. Because I really liked the permaculture zones, and I always thought about, well, you're zone 0 and like you're your own temple, and everything should hug that and be holistic. And I love thinking about that, and I want to do that as I figure out how to weave those things together.
I like that. So everyone knows the permaculture zones are a system of zoning energy and where you're moving. Zone 0 being like yourself, you know, your center space. Zone 1 being kind of like an area right around your home, places that you go to often. Zone 2, moving out, not quite as often, and it gives you kind of a sense of how you can help design out your living situation in a way that is sustainable to you and your energy and can help regenerate your energy actually.
Yeah, so you're self-propagating in place. You're like becoming more life, and you're thriving in your place.
Yeah. You're getting to squeeze the juice out of more of the experience, like these trifoliate oranges.
I've been wanting to study sacred space for a long time, and I just started, and I realized it was a lot of information to look at.
Sacred space.
Yeah, like sacred geometry.
Okay.
But it
what are you wanting to study about that?
Just the way that you design physical spaces using sacred geometry. But it relates to just feeling centered in your space, kind of the way permaculture would do with ecosystems that you create. It just through design placement kind of helps you recenter as well. And so I'm interested in like learning more about it so I can maybe explore that too.
Is that something that would be applicable on the indoor space as well as the exterior space? And is there certain land features that you would need to be able to explore that more fully? Like, would that be easier on like flatter ground compared to mountainous terrain?
You can do it anywhere, and when I started reading about it, I realized that the ancients have been doing this forever, and it's almost like it's not mass information anymore, but it was at one time. In a lot of cultures, even like old tribal cultures, like they found ruins in like Celtic areas that are, you know, based on this, and like Stonehenge is based on this. And so people would use sacred geometry before they had like access to so many things that just get our adrenaline bumping. Like that was like a thrill to them to use this as a way of grounding.
It's like a Serpent Mound, and the geometry of that, and the calendar, and many of the mounds really, they all have some sort of ancient sacred geometry built into them, and how they're laid out, and relations to different aspects of the sun or the moon.
They do, and I didn't know this, but on the mirror side of that, music is the roots of that. A lot of it are from sacred geometry, and I was like, oh, okay, because it all has rhythm and structure, and it's a way for us to experience something by providing something like a beat where there was no thing, and you can't have a thing without no thing. So
There ain't no thing.
with music as it is in space, and I love those concepts together.
I like that. I've always thought of musicians as being people who are time lords or something. They can make time feel really slow, or they can make it really fast. And if they make it really fast, then like it definitely creates like this different feeling and sensation of how time is going by, and like how it might just be a little bit slower, and maybe the hours go by a little bit slower, and sometimes that are just really
That's
fast.
right. Just like how designers do that in space. Like an architect might intentionally slow you down, or want you to be quiet or reflective, or
Look a certain direction,
any of that.
hear a certain sound.
Yes.
I've been working on a water fountain feature recently in Cincinnati area, and it's fascinating how a water feature in an urban environment can really create a peaceful environment, because the sound of the water trickling can help drown out other EMF sounds and sounds of leaf blowers a couple blocks down, lawnmowers that are always going, and those dogs that are always barking.
It does, and then when you have like water features, they drop and create pools and ripples, and that is nature's version of sacred geometry, which the ancients actually looked at nature and they were like, there's something here, like there's an order here. What is it and why? And so when you have a lot of that happening around you, it's calming. That's why people say being near water is like, it's healthy for you, because it helps you recalibrate even if you don't realize what's happening.
Helps you propagate good thoughts, good
It does.
minds. Yeah. Thank you so much for coming to share. And is there any other topics that you would like to share that you feel are important to you right now?
I think I shared a good little smattering of them, and thank you. Thank you for inviting me to share.
Maybe, can I ask for one more story?
Yep.
Give me a story from the times when you were studying in Australia.
That was an amazing time. I didn't know what sustainable design was at the time. I just liked it. I wanted to learn more about it. So after I had gone on like a really cool internship, I just typed in eco architecture, and this firm name in Australia popped up, and I just wrote to them and I said, can I come work with you guys? And they were building buildings in the inner city out of straw bale, and they had like 3-story tall straw bale buildings.
Wow.
And the guy was a terrible business person, but
Wow.
he was a very visionary ecological architect from starting in the 70s. So he basically had to create his own construction company to build the buildings that he was designing, because his daughter was really allergic to things like that are in PVC and stuff like that. And when you think of what's behind the walls of a house, it's a lot of PVC.
Yeah.
So that was also part of his initiative to do this. But his buildings were no plastic, no PVC. Like it was all just wood,
Legit.
copper, steel, and as natural as can be. Like completely non-toxic.
Logistically.
So speaking of logistics, like my job was to call every manufacturer that was trying to sell us stuff, and this was the beginning of like the now popular like green product movement that LEED is kind of based on, LEED, that a lot of architecture firms use.
What does LEED stand for again?
I think it's called like leadership and energy and something design, but it's meant to like incentivize buildings to be non-toxic. Well, a lot of these products, if you actually call the manufacturer, they will lie to you.
What the fun?
So either there actually was formaldehyde in it, and it was bamboo, and you're like, oh, it's great because it's bamboo flooring, but it was soaked in formaldehyde, which a lot of glues are formaldehyde, or
They hide that.
it wasn't sustainable bamboo harvesting, or all of the above, like just a lot of greenwashing. And so I actually was really depressed when I came back and from like figuring all of that out. But it made me really aware of how things could be different.
Okay.
I just had to actually turn my brain off of that for a while, because it just felt really heavy. But
Wowzers.
Australia itself was magnificent, regardless of like finding that out and being like, oh wow. And just this guy, unfortunately, he was such a terrible business person. I think that if he was a great business person, more of those amazing buildings would have been built. But that's sort of one of the catch-22s of a lot of service providers is that they're great at their service and they're not great at business.
Not the right bloke.
Yeah, but that was incredible to just see what he was trying to do and what he had done, which was, a lot of people say, oh, I'm only certain percent built. Like a star architect will be like, oh, I'm only 10% built. That means like 10% of their projects are actually built. And that was the case here. Like I saw all these like sustainable projects that he had done that weren't built, like whether they were homes or like.
Are they still there? Can people still visit them
Yeah,
and
you
see
can.
are they still building them? Or
Yes, I
they're
think
still
so.
Continuing that work. Cool.
It's mostly homes, and some people would just buy the plans from him and then build their own homes, and I thought that was really great. And I went to go help a person build their home one time. So that was
Where would somebody look that up if they wanted to Google and see some of these straw bale homes that are 3 stories high?
That project was called Christie Walk, and it's in Adelaide, Australia, and that company was called Ecopolis, and it was ecopolis.com.au, I think.
Okay. See, that's good to know, because, in the summer, somehow, Wake the Farm Up podcast was in the top 60 podcasts in New Zealand. So there's some people there that might, be able to actually visit that very easily.
Or they might know of it. And they're so close they could hire that firm.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's incredible. I'm looking forward to looking that up. I can kind of visualize, what the tall straw bale homes would be like. That's fascinating.
I kept the CAD drawings. I don't know if I was allowed to, just in case I wanted to
Start building
use
something.
those someday.
Nice. There you go. Let's build a straw bale city. So, really cool thing about regenerative building and building with things that you can take apart, and when you take it apart it can just go back into the garden, go back into the land is amazing, like thatched roofs. I've been working with thatched roofs a little bit. There's not any long time experienced professional roof thatchers in this part of the world that I know of that I've found yet. But there's certain grasses, like the native bluestem grass is known to be a good roof for about 50-something years, which is insane because you look at the asphalt roofing that people are slapping up on roofs that you can buy like at the big box stores, and it's asphalt, it's oil and little bits of spent coal that's been burnt into the little sand gritty kind of particles, and that's what you're shedding the water off your roof. And they give you, I think, a warranty of like 25 years. I think that's gone down even more because they've passed some laws that make it so they want less oil content in the roofing, so that when they take it off and put it in the landfill, there's a smaller amount of oil going into the landfill. But the roofs are lasting for a shorter amount of time now, so they're actually putting more of them into the landfill, which, so it's kind of just like that didn't mathematically work out. There were some logistics that needed to be worked out. Logistics are funny, they're fun.
Well, let me know when your thatch roofery is for hire, and I'll see what I can do.
Sounds good. Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you so much for being here, Cleocatra.
You're welcome.
Everybody give it up. Check out her music on SoundCloud too. She's got a whole entire album of amazing cat freestyle
I
rap.
listened to it today. It's awesome.
It's
We need to
amazing.
revisit that project. And one, you gotta listen to this, bro. It's the cat freestyling, bro. Yes.
So good, so
It's-
good.
It's
So I do
niche.
want to call
Awesome.
Weez back up for an actual second. I know he wanted to, so can he come back up? I did have a couple other questions for you, just so people know how logistical this guy really, really is. I mean, are you ready? You down?
More logistics questions.
You don't have to do another 2 minutes. We can just go right back into it. Woo!
How's it going?
Alright, so Weez and I have known each other since we were like 7 years old, and we still find ourselves on camping trips and stuff. And this is one of these guys that loves to go and spend the night in the woods in the middle of the winter when it's snowing, as long as there's a fire and some music playing around the fire with people singing. So, what's your favorite part about the part where you're actually sleeping in your sleeping bag by yourself in a tent and it's like 15 degrees outside?
What's my favorite part about camping in the cold?
Yeah.
That you can hike all day long and not get sweaty. That's it, man. There's no bugs.
No bugs. It's
There's
true.
nothing.
Yeah.
The fire can go all night. You can burn it as long as you want. It's hot. You're good to go. What's your favorite part about camping in the winter, buddy?
The people I'm camping with, honestly.
Just the people I'm camping with.
Being in the middle of nature, just being animals together, being in the forest and finding wild mushrooms and whatever the phenomenon. Yeah, the lion's mane stories there. We
I have
found
not
lion's
seen
manes
that since
together.
that day.
That was a giant, full-on Santa Claus beard of lion's mane mushroom that we found in the forest that day. That was amazing.
It was like 4 pounds of mushrooms, wasn't it?
Yeah, we cooked it up that night, and that was dinner. And lion's mane mushrooms are known medicinally for helping connect neurons in your brain. And it's interesting if you look at what these neuron connector electronic devices that they're talking about wanting to drill into people's heads. Mind you, the scary part of that is they're finding that infants are better to do it on because their skulls are softer still. But these neuron connectors can help, apparently reconnect these synapses in our brain that connect our ideas and thoughts. And they're first going to talk about how it helps with Alzheimer's disease and helps people retain their memories and keep those brain synapses going, which is fascinating. I still wouldn't want to get my head drilled in, just so you know, even if I forget that and say something else. But eating lion's mane mushrooms, a natural way, you can do a very similar thing in a very more connected and reliable way. That's something I don't know, just along the lines of faith, that would be something I would put more faith into, is these wild mushrooms that we can find that have been existing with us as animals in the woods for eons.
So you're pro mushrooms, anti-neural implant?
I don't know if I would say all those stances, I think if somebody wants, you do you. I'll do me. If you want to get your skull drilled and have that in the back of your head, you do you. We'll have a good time, as long as we're all laughing.
Absolutely.
It's serious, but it's definitely seriously funny. So what else do you, what are some of your wilderness skill highlights? When you go camping, what are some of your features? Do you have a favorite axe that you bring, or?
I bought a new bow saw, man.
Oh, can you shoot arrows with that thing?
No, you can chop up logs with it.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Coming, yeah, I saw that.
No, it's good. You saw that? Nice pun.
That's funny. Yeah.
It's not funny. You know what's funnier than that?
What's funny?
Not logistics, my friend.
Not logistics. Yeah, take logistics and saw it in half with a bow saw.
Who brings me on this show to talk about logistics for 2 minutes? That was painful.
Oh, wow. Do you need a diaper? Do you need a tissue? What do you need?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Well, thanks again for sharing some of the camping stories. You got any highlight camping stories before you turn the mic off? Can I send you off to the. I'm gonna have Louis come. Where's Louis at? I'm gonna have him come drag you out.
I got nothing left, man.
Alright, Louis, drag him out. Where's Louis at? Get out of here, dude. Come on. Just go. Louis is invisible right now. He's my imaginary friend. Alright, yeah, you guys having fun? Learning some interesting stuff, hearing some crazy stuff. We've been roller skating and operating bow saws and all kinds of things here. I want to get Aaron up here on the mic here for 2 minutes, uninterrupted. You up for that, Aaron?
If it's at 2
minutes? Yes.
Yeah, you ready? Alright, let's get him up here. Everybody give it up for Aaron.
2 minutes. 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Alright. Are we ready?
Here it is.
Alright. Go ahead. Go ahead. Alright, go ahead. Are you asking me a question?
Propagation. What do you want to tell us about propagation in 2 minutes? And your time is officially starting now.
Propagation, that's a cool word. Propagation. So like, what am I propagating? So, propagation. What are you propagating? Well, I am trying to propagate, I'm trying to propagate a life for me and my family. And, propagate love. You know, I'm trying to propagate love and really my biggest thing is selflessness and humility. You know, it's just all about like forgetting about yourself and serving and remembering God at all times. And if you can forget about yourself and stop forgetting about your little tiny little ego self and remember to serve, every time that you serve, you really remember your true self, and you'll feel really, really blessed when you do that. And you won't be all about like, I'm depressed and me and me and me. Shut the fuck up. Go serve. Shut the fuck up and go serve. Because once you get out of yourself, you know what I mean? Because this is the ego. The ego wants to in. But God is out. We got, where we at? Okay. God is just out. You know, it just serves and just, it's never ending. It's not about like, oh, I don't feel good. I need to take antidepressants. Me and me. Yeah. I mean, you got to propagate yourself first before you can be powerful and serve correctly. Where we at? Okay. So, you know, propagate yourself. I've propagated myself through a foundation of different precepts that I abide by. You know, I don't lie. I keep integrity. Integrity is kind of a thing of the past. Where are we at? You gotta have that integrity. You gotta have that basis to be able to serve. If you don't understand the foundation, you ain't gonna be able to serve.
Service! He's propagating that with his service. He's bringing it out with his service. He's gonna dance for us now. So Aaron's been dancing. He's not even gonna stay for a conversation. He's out of here. Alright. We're gonna talk about you. Oh, okay. We're gonna talk about you. We're gonna talk about life.
Alright, let's go. I'm ready.
Alright, so years ago, I know we were like 21 or something, and you propagated your first child, Elijah, and I lived in your all's backyard in a teepee that I made with bamboo poles and tarps, and we taught that kid how to break dance. We ate raw foods, we ate the best foods, we would forage foods, we make the best salads ever.
Yes, sir. Yes, beautiful times, beautiful times. Yeah, Andy's a good brother to help you to remember about just your wild nature. And helps you remember fun, like elves, real elves. Yeah, I really appreciate Andy in my life. He was a wild thing in my life that helped open me up to more wildness and the wild side of life, like eating things, you know, like just right out of the grass, out of the ground. He's like a wild thing. Yeah. So.
Yeah, we would do that wagging and chew on grass and spit the fibers out and all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
Collect dandelions.
Yeah, I love that stuff.
Yeah.
Appreciate you.
All of it, the simple things. Chickweed, that's Stellaria. It's a tasty salad, you know, comes up in the spring. It's up again now. It's like fall time salad greens.
He knows it.
Mineral
knows
rich.
it. Yeah.
So he had a juice bar. It was all raw back in, I don't know what the time period was, like 2002.
Yeah, like 03, 04.
04.
Yep.
Okay, and I would go up there once in a while, like once a month or something, and watch the shop and be the guy juicing and stuff. It wasn't like my full-time thing, but he needed a day off or something, and I would go up there. And one time I brought basket loads of mustard garlic. It's an invasive weed that grows in our forests around here, and I took that and I juiced it, like a whole pint glass of it, and I drank that thing, and it burned, but for days and days I felt so just like clean, nothing can get to me. There's a property in that mustard garlic that lowers the freezing temperature of water. You know, I'm thinking about my body being in water, you know, it totally like elevated the freezability and yeah, it was just crazy the different things that we would make out of that little kitchen.
Yeah, oh man, so much fun. To this day, people talk about that juice bar. That was only there for like a year. Yeah, we really had a little conscious little hub, and just like filling people with chlorophyll, because with chlorophyll, you get that massive magnesium, which is needed to have an open mind. Actually, without magnesium, literally, like there's parts of your brain that will not accept new shit, which is fucking trippy as shit. So when you see like the old people that are just like, oh no, I don't do old stuff, they need magnesium. Give them the cacao and all the greens and stuff, because it helps you to open yourself up to new ideas. Seriously, it really does. I mean, I really like expanded my consciousness, I swear to God, by like raging wheat juice at one point in my life. Yeah. But yeah, that juice bar was fun.
I like juicing the mulberry leaves too. The properties in them are more nutritious than wheatgrass, because you got tree roots.
I didn't know that.
Roots that are going down like 60 feet sometimes on a mulberry. Depends on what the soil is like in that environment. But the leaves on there are perfect nutrients. The only reason why we don't eat a whole lot of them in salads is the fiber that's in them. Really high in fiber. That's where the silk moth is put onto a certain type of mulberry tree that they'll feast on and make that silk fiber. There's just so many different leaves out there that you can eat. There's basswood. A lot of people eat basswood in the spring, and it's really soft when it first comes out, but then later in the summertime it starts getting really fibrous, so you're not eating it quite as much.
So you're saying if the shit hit the fan right now and like there was no food coming in, you would be able to take me along just anywhere out here and be able to like fill my belly with some wild stuff?
Oh yeah, there's food everywhere here.
That's pretty empowering.
Yeah, it's it takes time to develop cuisine or a taste for a lot of things. There's certain things as you're eating more wild foods and expanding your taste bud horizons.
I would imagine your palate kind of like matures.
Starts to expand, and you taste certain nutrients or minerals, and you're like, ooh, I really like the way that feels right now. I want more of that, maybe less of that.
I noticed my palate really changed a whole bunch.
We explored a mono diet. Have you guys ever heard of a mono diet before? It's where for example, when peach...
No, I've never heard of that.
Yeah, it's like when a peach tree comes on and it's got a whole lot of
I've
peach.
never heard of a mono diet.
You just sit underneath the peach tree and eat nothing but peaches until you're full, or until the fruit changes its flavor.
Yeah, it's really fun. That's really like... That's always like one of the things I tell people when they... Well, in my particular thing, it's like I'm a vegan, which I don't really like... I even hate the word. But like I eat just vegan. I don't know how else to fucking say it. But like,
it's cool.
Where was I going with this? Gosh darn it. Shit.
Veganized fruit eating.
Mono eating. Yeah, like I you know, like they always tell people like, you know, oh, I don't want to go vegan because I don't. It's what I won't get to eat anymore. You know, I won't get to eat this and that, the double cheeseburger or whatever. And it's like, I always like to tell people it's like what you get to do. You get to like sit with a watermelon and eat the whole thing for lunch and feel full off of one fruit, and you feel really amazing. Like it's crazy. Or you like sit and eat like like the mono thing. It's just like you get to do that, and the experience is really enlightening in a way.
The feeling,
the
way it digests through your system and cleanses a certain thing at that season of the year. It's just like perfect alignment with what the seasons are doing to your body as well, and it puts you in the environment where you are.
Yeah.
Watermelons are amazing. Talking about propagation, one watermelon with seeds in it has enough seeds in it to grow enough plants for a whole village the next year.
Can I say that that's my favorite food ever ever?
I think a lot of the villagers in the villages that grow watermelons will say, yeah, that's probably their favorite.
That's my favorite food, but that's my favorite food with seeds though, because it's perfect food at that point because you have the fat and the protein and the sugar.
Perfect seed.
Oh man, what a beautiful thing! And they take all the fucking seeds out. What's happening there? What are we doing out here?
I think they're trying to shortchange us
Seedless,
on some
seedless,
zinc
make everything
supplements
seedless.
and whatnot, all those nutrients that come from the seeds and the fatty oils that are good for you and all that are great to go into your system, making oils out of plants.
So why do we say, get the seeds out? We don't like them. Why do we do that, Andy? Well,
I don't know, there's this whole myth that if you swallow watermelon seeds, it's going to grow inside your belly and come and grow out of your ear or something. So
Is that really? Or are you thinking just people like have been always taught to like spit out the seeds? You don't eat those. There's nothing to.
Yeah, I mean, I'll admit they are really fun to spit out. I mean, I know you guys have all eaten a watermelon and spit a seed out. You can really launch them sometimes. So
Yeah, for sure, they're fun.
that's a good way to plant them, honestly.
You can spit them out, but if that's all you have, like let's say, well, if you want to do the mono thing,
But mostly I swallow.
if you want to do the mono thing, you'll have a complete you have a complete meal there basically with fat, sugar, protein, the three goods.
Yeah, the whole balance there, you know. So he's talking about like in a raw food way of eating with a vegan form
I think
of
it's
raw
just
food
way
eating.
no.
You want to kind of balance your fats, like foods that have fats, with foods that have sweets and sugars in them, and with foods that are green and rich in chlorophylls and proteins.
Well, isn't that what we eat as humans? Isn't that it as humans, basically?
Well,
Fat, sugar.
There's so many ways we as humans
carb-
organize like our different elements
just
of
say
what we
eat
take
humans?
in or exist in.
No, I'm saying like basically what everyone eats is fats, sugars, or protein. That's all across the board.
Pretty much.
Okay, I thought so. Okay.
Yeah. But there's all kinds of ways to organize it. You know, me, like, growing up in the 80s and whatnot, they would tell us about the food pyramid, and there would be, like, a whole category of food that was milk and dairy. And there'd be a whole category that was,
Is there one that's actually
There's all, like-
cheeseburger? There's a cheeseburger category.
I think there was it for 1 year at least. I think that's when McMonopoly was doing its best.
Okay, yeah. That food pyramid is the devil. But go ahead.
Yeah, you know, there's
Whatever that is to you.
Yeah, it's the whole dualistic thing. You know, there's a lot more to it than like one or the other. So that's the really fascinating thing with wild foods for me. Is there's just so many choices all the time. So many ways to go. What you're observing and finding in nature, what nature is presenting to you. It's amazing how often it lines up. Earlier, I was also roasting black walnuts here and cracking them. And when I pulled those things out, they tasted like little roasted turkey dinners or something. But it was just like little nuts.
They tasted
Tell us about it, Steph.
They tasted like some sort of a microwave roasted dinner. Is this what
Yeah,
it
with
tastes
chocolate,
like? With chocolate on it?
milk, like as an aftertaste.
Like
Come
a
on.
Snickers bar or something like
You
that.
know, I'm gonna
Okay,
just,
sure,
it's
buddy.
got a chocolate flavor to it.
Yeah, everything tastes
Stephen
like
loves
chocolate to
everything
Andy.
that tastes like chocolate to me.
Mr. Guy.
Like these
It's okay.
lemon drops, I was telling him about how you squeeze enough of them into your water, it'll kind of get like that frothy flavor of the lemonades that people get at amusement parks or something like that.
No, you
know?
said Mountain Dew actually.
Chocolate.
You said Mountain Dew. It's Mountain Dew, right?
If you get it frothy enough, no, it's like chocolate milk with lemons.
Okay. Alright.
Lemons, mountains, dews, chocolates.
Yeah.
I believe you, Andy.
Sorry, Aaron. Stefan just loves when I describe things as tasting
No,
like
I'm just trying to
Come on,
follow
man.
you guys. It's a melting
Can't
pot.
make it too easy on your
Thoughts.
Let's go.
Yeah, subscribe.
Beauty. Subscribe. Wait for a moment.
Farm up. Yeah. Well, what else you got? You know, you got any other like stories of propagating good ideas? Come on, tell me about propagating good ideas of whimsicalness.
For that, it's Cat Freestyles.
This is one of the most whimsical people I know over here. You know, like you like the word whimsical. Like,
No.
give us some wonderment. Give us some wonderment, you whimsical wanderer.
That's not a good enough question. You got to come with a better question.
All right, so tell us about your ice dyes. Like here on the audio, you can't see the tie-dye hoodie that he's wearing, but maybe you will on a picture perhaps. And you can see how beautifully well done it is. Tell us about making those kind of tie-dyes. It's like ice dye.
It's so simple. It's so amazing and simple. You just take a garment, and you soak it in soda ash water.
Soda ash.
That's
soda
what helps
ash.
to stay the that'll keep the color. So like the soda ash does something to the clothing where it keeps its color stay, so it'll keep the dye on there. So then you take it, you put it in a container, and you can fold it in whatever way you want to, and you put ice on top of that, and then you take the powder dye and you just put the powder on top of the ice.
Powder?
You come back the next day. Like right now, I have ice that's melting on a bunch of tie-dyes. And I'll go in the morning, and there'll be some sick-ass tie-dyes that God
Maybe
made
just
with
hang
water.
them up and dry them and then run them through laundry.
I rinse them for a while. Each hoodie takes a long time to hand rinse, and then I have a spinner. We spin them out, and then I hang them up in front of the dehydrators.
So
Because I also have a food business, but
yeah, tell us about the food business. Like you're
no,
not.
the
you're
food
not
business is
eating
kind of
cookies.
boring. The food business is kind of boring, but it's fun.
Yeah, don't tell us about that. We don't want to hear about boring shit.
Yeah, no.
Right.
I would.
Right.
If I was listening to a podcast, I don't listen to boring shit.
Yeah, I don't want to
Do
hear
you?
about boring shit. No. I don't even want to when I'm not listening to a podcast.
Yeah, we don't want to keep it boring. Yeah, the food thing's fun,
Yeah.
but tie-dyeing is more fun.
Okay.
Yeah, tie-dyeing
Yeah.
is so much fun. Oh my gosh.
So you're a tie-dyer.
Yes. I love to
awesome.
puff a little bit and go in there with my headphones, and it's like a color meditation. You know, I have probably like 40 different powder dyes, so many, and you just look up there and
Where can you find those?
reminds me of this beautiful African picture right here.
Yeah. Where can you find those tie-dyes?
Aaron's Picks on Etsy. Aaron's_Picks on Etsy.
Okay,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
I like
But that propagating color in people's lives, that's another thing that I like to do. I like to propagate color into hoodies, and then it goes on to the world, and then hopefully there's color therapy that happens when people see different colors that they don't always see.
visual.
Propagation of
Amazing.
bright colors,
Yeah.
enlightenment of sorts. Maybe.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Andy. Appreciate you, brother. All right.
That's awesome, yo. Alright, so I'm going to open it here for a second, short intermission. Anybody else wants to come up tonight, think about it here, just vibe out a second. I have to make a water deposit. This might get edited shorter out of here, so this is like quiet. You can say whatever you want there.
Here's a moment I will share a track with you guys that I'm working on.
Hey, drop some music.
Reach out to you with the spirit of the sea. Celicities when I leave the kingdom. I know my heart and I feel it. And that's free. That's free. We are the light, we are the energy. We are the ones, there's no enemy. They have already been defeated. Come on. I know the dark will look at the best of me. I put my heart, I see my destiny. I know it all has been written. Come on. Yeah. I've been coming through. But Leon, trying to let you know that we can beat it. At Leon. I'ma fly away, off into the clouds. Will you come with me? We can get it out. Need some company. I'll be coming through. Leon will win, and Leon we will do. I will fly with you. Will you fly with me all the way? I've been coming through, but Eon, trying to let you know that we can beat it.
Alright, we're back here, Wake the Farm Up. We're gonna wrap up this show tonight. It was amazing having these great conversations, some cool thoughts on propagation, strange explorations of it, you know, diverse realms of what's being multiplied and regenerated on its own, different forms of plant propagation. It's amazing. Like, I hope we can all go and like propagate more information and knowledge and extract more Wake the Farm Up techniques and flows and vibes. Loving you all. Thank you guys for coming. Alrighty, that concludes another Wake the Farm Up Maintaining Ground episode. What do y'all think? If you'd like to propagate these thoughts, share this podcast with your friends. Come to a live recording. Follow Wake Farm Up on Instagram. You know when we'll find out and we'll let you know through these different avenues. And let us know what you want more of. Subscribe, stay in touch. Let us know what you want to know. And thanks everyone. Wake Farm Up. Keep listening to this podcast, explore the other episodes, have fun, stay tuned, there'll be more coming from the Mother Farming Elf.